Welcome to Coach Magic, the show for the woman who is all in on creating a life, business, and family that's beyond her wildest dreams. I'm Jenny Fennig, and I am so excited to help you get confident, focused, and paid. Let's rewrite the rules and get moving in the direction of your deepest desires. Ready, set, go. Hi there, it's Jenny Fennig here, and I am so thrilled to welcome you back to Coach Magic. We took a hiatus for about 2 years. I missed you. Up until 2022, I had been podcasting for about 7 years. My first show was called Get Gutsy. You may have been one of our listeners. When I felt that show was complete, we launched Coach Magic, this show, and put out about 20 episodes. And then I decided I need to focus on other things. I was creating another revenue stream in my business at that time that required a great deal of bandwidth, and my family needed me a lot. I have 3 kids. I've been married for almost 20 years now, and I needed to prioritize ruthlessly. And amidst all of that, I didn't know if I even wanted to have a podcast anymore. There were so many changes happening in the coaching industry, and I needed time to feel into the highest and best use of me. That's one of my favorite terms. That's one of my favorite concepts and ideas that I teach, this idea of the highest and best use of you. We'll talk more about it on the show. So at that time, I decided to press pause on the podcast. I didn't make a grand announcement. I thought about it, but I didn't. I found myself saying, no, I don't need to make a grand announcement. I just paused, and I learned a lot in the pause. And I'm going to share some lessons learned and how they apply to you in a few moments. But before I do, let me be clear about who this show is for. Coach Magic is for spirit-led entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers dedicated to creating a life, business, and family that's beyond your wildest dreams. You are a sacred messenger. Your work has a ripple effect. You're harnessing the power of technology to impact people locally and around the globe. You believe in the beauty of abundance, and you absolutely love getting paid to do what you love. You are magic in a body. And you're a big believer in getting support along the journey, especially because this can feel hard and lonely sometimes, and also because you believe in using your energy wisely. You know, you don't need to hold it all by yourself. You've been there, done that. You've moved forward, and you know that support is key. It's critical. It's crucial. So you can think of Coach Magic as your regular jolt of encouragement and guidance from me, coach and mentor for extraordinary women leaders like you. I am pouring my unique blend of Coach Magic into this show, and I am super excited about where we're going to go together. I have been coaching for quite some time. I feel like I was born coaching. But if you know my backstory, I had a corporate career for about a decade before I changed course, went through a yoga teacher training, fell in love with that practice, still of an avid practitioner today of yoga, and then discovered the field of coaching. This was way, way, way back in 2008. I've been coaching officially ever since. I have worked with the most incredible clients. I have done a lot of things as a coach. I have written a book. I mentioned having the podcast for a long, long, long time. I have launched oodles and oodles of programs, led masterminds, retreats in the United States and abroad, and have just gone on this incredible ride. I have done a ton of speaking to corporations as well as, individual clients who come to my master classes and in-person gatherings. And I do a tremendous amount of facilitation these days as well, really helping to create a powerful energy in a room, whether that room be online or in person, IRL, right, in real life. Coaching has been a catalyst for me to truly live my dream. Truly, truly, truly. And I am ready and excited and fired up to pour that energy into this show. And so right now, the vision is to release a new episode every week-ish. The vision is every week, but we're going to have some breaks built in for life to happen, because I am a big believer in, having your business really be designed around your ideal lifestyle, what's happening for you in this season. I'm going to talk more about that on future episodes as well. Speaking of episodes, I have a lot of ideas, and I want to give a shout out to those of you in my community who recently filled out a community survey that we put out, where you shared with me some of what you're dealing with in your work, in your business, and in your life in general, because I believe everything touches everything. I know you get that. And so I have a ton of ideas that came by way of you all. And I have my own ideas through my intuition, through all my experiences that I bring to the table. And I'll just be blending it all up and designing an incredible ride for us. That's how I see it. We're going to go on this ride. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is certainly get in touch with me and tell me what you'd love for me to talk about. I'm a believer in co-creating this experience. All right. And so you can reach out to me on the socials. You can send my team an email and let us know where you are. And I'll do my best to weave ideas in as we go. So I want to tell you that I am recording this episode in Spain, in Mallorca to be exact. I'm on an epic trip. I have my home base not in Mallorca, but in another place that starts with M, Massachusetts. I live in Western Mass. If you don't know that, you know that now. And I love where I live. And I also absolutely love to travel. I have been amping up my travel, thank goodness, over these last few years after having been, kind of grounded for a bit, as we were during that wild ride that we went on starting in, 2020. So my travel has amped up, and it's just been so amazing. I'm remembering that travel certainly is my love language. And as I was, feeling into reviving this show and bringing it back, I was, just doing my analysis and thinking and feeling and, spreadsheeting. I got a spreadsheet, love a good spreadsheet. And I kept, thinking of when am I going to press record? When am I going to press record? And I would put stuff in my calendar like, okay, go into your creative cave and press record. That's what I like to call my creativity time, like the creative cave. And so I literally would put it in my Google Calendar, creative cave time, podcast. And life was just happening around me. I had so much going on, especially preparing for this trip, and just other things as well that felt more pressing, to be honest. And then when I recognized, you know what? I'm going to record this baby in Spain. And so I brought my microphone, and here I am recording this episode in Spain. I am here for an incredible experience that my oldest son, Sean, is having in regards to tennis. He's a big-time tennis player and just so passionate about it. And it's so wonderful seeing him and these other kids that he's here with going after their passion. So I am here doing my own thing, getting some work accomplished, also supporting him and recording this episode in Mallorca, Spain. And it's just glorious. And I'm tapping into the vibe of this place. And I hope you can feel that. The energy of being in a different country, the energy of being in this gorgeous room, the space that I'm in, it's mind-blowing right now. I'm going to do my best to describe it. So it literally is this fully stone building. Okay, my room. I'm in this, it is a suite. I have this sleeping room and then a sitting room next to it. And I can't tell you when this was built, but it was a while ago. Okay. And it's like a dome kind of thing. It's this whole circular structure, and it's literally, the whole thing is stone. I've never stayed in a room like this before. It feels very Spanish. It feels just magical, literally, which is the perfect space for me to record the relaunch of Coach Magic, don't you think? So I'm in this beautiful, beautiful space, this gorgeous energy. And this first episode of us coming back with Coach Magic is being released on the 30th anniversary of my sister Julie's passing. 30 years. When I was designing the relaunch of this podcast, starting it on 2/27, February 27th, it gave me chills. Now, a lot of my community, my people, you know my sister Julie. I've talked about her since the beginning of my business. I talk about her in my book, Get Gutsy. If you're new to me and new to this show, Julie is my younger sister. She died when she was 12 years old from cancer. She had brain cancer and eventually spread to her spine. She was the biggest warrior. I knew then and still know now. She blows me away with her strength and her courage and just the way that she lived. And I truly feel like she has been a support to me and a true guide as I have, dealt with that grief and allowed myself to feel things and miss her and really dedicate my life to doing something with this life and, using these gifts that I have. And I have been very, very blessed and gifted with what I have inside of me and what I have, chosen to learn more about and dive deeper into because, I love to learn and I really just get so fired up about, sharpening my skills and having an incredible set of tools. And my sister Julie absolutely has been an inspiration to me this whole time. And so I hope you feel that dedication to her and the alignment around dates. If you have lost somebody in your life that you've cared deeply about, you know what I'm talking about. You know that energy of loss. And you also know that they are here with you. They are here with you. I do believe that our people, they leave their body, but the energy is still here. And so whoever that is in your life, I invite you to really bring them into everything that you create, how you live, and just let their life be a reminder to you to live well, to really live well. And on that point, I will tell you that I am living better and truer than I ever have. When you have the worst thing that you can imagine happen to you, in my case, it was my sister dying. I was only 16 when that happened. And then it's like your worst fear, and when that happens and you realize you didn't die, you made it, you survived. And then for me, I recognize there's a reason I'm still here. Then I better do it. You better do it. I better go for it. I better not let fear rule me. Okay? And so I am living better and truer than I ever have. And it's certainly been a journey. It's been a process. That did not happen just because I snapped my fingers. I had to commit to a lot of healing and making hard decisions and, choosing myself and choosing to live well over and over and over again. And I also had to choose that I wasn't going to wait anymore and I wasn't going to waste any time. I wasted a lot of time, but I learned a lot. So I don't think that it was really a waste. But if I had to look back and say what was a waste, I wasted time like comparing my life to somebody else. I wasted time thinking that I wasn't ready. I wasted time thinking that just because somebody else was doing something didn't mean that I couldn't do it too. Because what I know is the way we do things is different than how anyone else can do it because nobody else is you. Okay? And so if there's one thing I've learned in these 30 years, it's this: live your best life now. Live your best life now. Okay? Your job is to figure out what that is in this season and give it to yourself. Go on the grand adventure of being fully you. Those who can come with you will, and those who can't won't. It's that simple. There's a great line from one of my all-time favorite books called Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, and it is this: go out in the woods, go out, If you don't go out in the woods, nothing will ever happen and your life will never begin. You got it? And so the theme of this episode is decide to begin again. I want you to really marinate in that for a moment, begin or decide to begin again. And I love that quote from Clarissa, that whole metaphor of going out into the woods. Even if you're somebody who doesn't necessarily like the woods and don't necessarily consider yourself a hiker, more of a city person or, not maybe into the nature like that. That's a metaphor, going out into the woods. Go out, like what are your proverbial woods? What is that for you? It's like going into the wilderness, going into some terrain that perhaps feels a bit wild. Okay? Totally out of your comfort zone. You must be willing to get out of your comfort zone. Even my son, he's here in Spain for this incredible tennis opportunity. It was completely out of his comfort zone. And we have feelings around that. And I said to him, it's certainly understandable you're going to have feelings around this. And we still can do it. We can still move forward. And so for you, I say that because what happens for a lot of women, incredibly courageous, amazing women leaders, we see this thing that we want, and then it feels like we've got to go out into the woods for it, I'm really going to get out of my comfort zone for this. I may have some rejection. It may not work out, or I don't know exactly how it's going to work out. And so if you're not willing to get out of that comfort zone, go into whatever your woods are, then as Clarissa says, nothing will ever happen and your life will never begin. And so do you want your life to begin? Do you want the next chapter of your life to begin? Do you want the next chapter of your business to begin? Are you ready to elevate? Are you tired of being at the level that you're at? Maybe you've been there for a while and you're ready for more. You're ready for more. This is not going to be comfortable, but it is going to be amazing. Okay? And so this idea of beginning again is what we're focused on in our, Back to Coach Magic show. We're back, baby. And so a few ideas that I want to share with you. One is that, shifting gears is part of life. And so for me, when I paused the show way back when, I didn't even know if we were going to bring it back. I wasn't sure. And I was okay not knowing. Okay. And so that's something I want you to take in. It's okay not to know. Eventually you'll know. And so as we move through our work and our life and all the things, you're going to shift gears because we're not machines. We're not robots. I know AI is on the scene and we work with a lot of technology, we work with machines, but we're humans. And so shifting gears is part of the deal. You may have a lot going on at home right now. I'm raising school-aged kids. That is a full contact sport. And so I am constantly shifting gears. How about you? Maybe you are caring for parents. I have a lot of clients right now who are caring for elderly parents. They have a lot of health issues going on, and it's a lot. Okay? Maybe you are in the midst of a move. You're in the midst of a relationship change. You've got stuff going on in your health. Across the board, this is part of being human. Maybe you just are desiring something else and you're not quite sure what it is yet, but it's real. Maybe you're going through hormonal shifts, perimenopause, menopause. Maybe you're in, your childbirth years and you're growing your family, whatever. We got a range here, and shifting gears is part of life. And I think one of the greatest gifts that our business gives us is that we can design, redesign it at will based on what's happening in our personal lives. Okay? I got into business for myself so I could make those accommodations. I can make those shifts. I love being able to design my schedule the way I want to. I love being able to say, I'm not taking, any calls this particular week or this particular month, or I'm only taking calls on these particular days. Okay? I love deciding how I'm showing up. And so I throw that out to you to consider that this is the benefit of having your business. This is the benefit of really being a master of your craft, of doing the thing. All right. And so shifting gears is part of life, and you can always begin again. You can decide, hey, I'm going to try this thing on for size. Let's see how it goes. And then I'll move into that next chapter. I'll move into that next phase. It's all good. You don't need to overanalyze or overthink or make up stories about yourself that aren't helpful. Okay. Another takeaway here is that breaks lead to breakthroughs. So, we live in this era, this society, this time where it feels like go, go, go. We're constantly surrounded by stimulation, content. If you're on social media, it's like it's just information, entertainment, noise, stuff all the time. And you might think that it's your job in your work to consistently add to that. And again, you get to decide how you design what it is that you do. But there are powerful times for breaks. You're like, I'm going to take a break from doing X. I am going to pause on Y. There are many people who take sabbaticals. They decide they're not going to take on, any type of, work for a certain period of time because they are working on something else. I know a lot of people who have decided, they're in the coaching space, the consulting space, and they say, hey, I'm going to pause any one-on-one client work for now because I am, for example, working on a book, or I'm taking the summer off of those types of clients because I'm going to be really present with my family over the summer. I'm going to do group work. I'm going to, put out episodes of my podcast. Again, just giving you different scenarios to consider. But when we take those breaks, we get breakthroughs because what has happened is that we've opened up space in our schedule. We've opened up space and we give ourselves this gift of being able to have that breakthrough. The breakthrough can't come if you're totally maxed out, okay? If there's no room for it. So a break is a beautiful thing. A break is a beautiful thing. And on that point too, I will tell you that I recently have gotten back into a really consistent yoga practice. I mentioned to you earlier that yoga was my pathway into coaching. And, during COVID times, my studio, wasn't offering in-person classes. And then it eventually closed. It shut its doors after 20 plus years serving my local community. And that was very sad. And, I had lots of feelings around that. And then it has been the greatest joy that another studio came into town. They moved from one town over, and they've opened up the most incredible space. It's thriving. And I started going, coming back and making space for it after having taken a pretty long break and doing other things for exercise. I'm a big believer in movement. And I am now a consistent practitioner again, and it feels so good. And I've had so many breakthroughs as a result. Okay. And so don't beat yourself up if you take a break. There's reasons why we take a break, give yourself a lot of grace and then be open for that breakthrough. And then the final lesson I want to share with you in this, welcome back to Coach Magic and decide to begin again episode is when something won't leave you alone, that's a sign. So that's what happened for this podcast. It started knocking on my door again. And I found that fascinating because I was literally at that place of I could be done with podcasting. I pretty much felt that I was because I just wasn't in that zone anymore after having podcasted for a long, it felt like lifetimes because I had, 2 different shows for a total of about 7 years. I just was like, I'm good because it was a lot. It is a heavy lift. It felt like a heavy lift back at that time. And, I'm going to have some things in place where this will not, I don't want it to feel like a heavy lift. I want it to feel just joyful and light and also powerful, but there was that feeling of it was just knocking on my door. It was knocking on my heart. And it was consistent. And so I said, you know what? Okay. How do I want to do this? How do I want to play? And so I spent some time with, that muse in that creative cave and just really was sketching out different ideas and different thoughts and asking, like, is it still Coach Magic? Is it something else? Like, what is it? How often are we going to publish? Am I doing solo episodes? Am I doing guest episodes? Like, what is it? And just allowing myself to imagine the possibilities and feel my excitement and feel like where I wanted to go, and giving myself space and grace to do it the way I want to do it. Like, there's no real rules here. It's more, how do I want to do it? How do I want to do it? And that's essentially how I've had this business for as long as I've had, and why I love it so much is you get to design it. I've gotten to design it. And for my clients, that's been a huge message I've shared, and I'm sharing it with you now too on this show. You get to decide. You get to decide. And what you might have experienced, and this is what I've heard from many, is that it can be overwhelming because you have a lot of ideas. If you're a visionary, if you are somebody who creates, and that tends to be who my clients are, you can have a lot of ideas, and we can't execute on all the ideas, right? You have to prioritize and figure out like where you're going to put your energy at any one time. And for me, a great indicator has been when something won't leave you alone. That's a really, really strong clue. Okay. So that's what I got for you today. There is so much more that we're going to do together. I am sitting here with just joy and a feeling of peace because we're doing it. We're doing it. I've recorded this episode in Spain. I'm with my oldest son. He's staying in a separate location doing his thing, and I get this time for myself to really dream up, what I want in my business and how I want to connect with you and do incredible, work together and put out my ideas and just my energy, and like I'm just sitting here in this knowledge of I just did it. We're doing it. And this is the start of something really, really special. And so please share the power of Coach Magic as we do this thing. You can share any of our episodes with a friend, starting with this one. Just share it out. Let people know. Let your world know, like, hey, this Jenny Fenig, you want to check her out. I'd love to grow our audience and really share the power of what we do as women on a mission with as many incredible women entrepreneurs as possible. Like, we truly are the change that we wish to see in the world. So do share and find me, connect with me on Instagram. I'm at Jenny Fenig, or you can connect with me on Facebook and tell me how the episode landed for you. I want to hear from you. Like, this is a two-way street, so let's talk. And finally, I'm so excited to go on this ride with you. Buckle up. It's going to be good.